Welcome back to Las Vegas. Let's talk about the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. Last year finished 7-6, 5-4 in the Big 12, 7th in the league, won the Independence Bowl against Cal. Joining us now, Joey McGuire. And I should say, you didn't get married, but last year we were up here. You married somebody else. You got ordained and officiated a wedding.
Yes.
Was that any off-season plans that we did this year?
I didn't do any this year, but I think I'm okay at it. So if anybody needs any, there'll be some Red Raiders that want me to officiate a wedding, I'm sure.
I love that.
How much Taj Brooks will we see this year in terms of what he did for you last year and how he ran the football? How big of a part will he have in your offense this year?
He'll be huge. I know you'll see 1,168 yards because 1,167 is what we'll tie the record, and we want to break the record. And Hanspard's my guy, man. I absolutely love Hanspard. Got to recruit and coach his son, but you're going to see a lot. I mean, as you being an ex-quarterback, it takes a lot of pressure off of you whenever you've got a guy that can run the ball like he can.
So with a guy like Taj Brooks in the backfield, right, you're going to get loaded boxes and probably a lot of one-on-one opportunities outside. What have you seen from Baron Morton in this offseason? I thought he played a phenomenal bowl game, and how has he gone about his offseason carrying that momentum with him?
I think the biggest thing with Baron, he knows he's the guy. Like, we had quarterback competition year 1 and year 2, and competition's great, but whenever you're the guy, it changes your leadership ability. It changes your voice in that locker room, and that's the biggest thing I've seen out of Baron, and he's embraced it now. I mean, he is all about being QB1 and holding people accountable, and he's got some really good weapons surrounding him, and so he's pretty fired up.
Speaking of those weapons, we would be remiss if we did not talk about Micah Hudson.
Yes.
5-star wide receiver coming to campus this year. What can we expect to see out of the true freshman?
Man, he's a freak. I mean, I tell everybody, man, I had the opportunity being a high school coach. I coached 4 receivers that played college football, had great careers in college, and were drafted in the NFL. And I think watching him in high school, he is better than all 4 of them. He's got a lot of maturity. He's a great teammate. That's one thing that's really cool about him. He is a great teammate. And I think the great thing is we've been able to add some weapons. It's always funny. Nobody wants to talk about Josh Kelly because we did it in the winter versus in the spring, but we added one of the most explosive receivers in the country. I think Mike is being able to play with Josh and learn from a vet is helping him grow, and they're really playing off of each other.
Josh coming over from Washington State. I'm curious, being in Texas and being in that hotbed, how do you manage the line of going out and getting a high school recruit? Because you go and you get a 5-star to then also knowing you got to add some pieces in the portal. Where's the middle line for you?
Ours is we talk about stop gaps, meaning what we're trying to do is add older guys in spots of maybe our younger guys are not ready to be full-time players or starters. We're not a team that wants to live in the portal. Now, we've gone and we've had to add. We added 4 offensive linemen, a junior college, and 3 portal offensive linemen, but it was to help our young guys grow up versus throwing some guys in the fire that aren't ready, to play yet. And so ours it's a balance. And the other thing, whenever you're talking about portal with us, you're a guy that's played a lot of football. If you look at the guys that we've taken, we've hit on portal guys. We've got portal guys drafted, and it's been because they've played a lot of football before they got to Texas Tech.
What's the perfect way if you could construct a transfer portal or the amount of times a young man could transfer? What would that look like in your eyes?
I believe in it. I think there's reasons to transfer without a doubt, but I think that you've got to have some. I would like to see some age under your belt, meaning that you're at a school more than 1 year and you've allowed some stuff to develop. Because what we forget is none of us were ready to play as freshmen in high school, but all of a sudden everybody's ready to play as freshmen in college. But that makes no sense. It's like one of those deals. Like Mike Hudson's ready to play, but I haven't had a lot of freshmen that were ready. There's been a handful. We were able to play 3 safeties last year, but they didn't start. They played a lot of special teams and was like a number 2 guy. And so I think for me with the portal, it would be good if you were saying saying, like, there's always reasons why, but let it get through a couple of years before you just say, hey, I'm just going to go somewhere else.
Well, you can't go to the NFL before 3 years. I think maybe you stay at a place at least 2, and then the doors open.
Well, I just want to say the one thing that nobody's talking about is every time you transfer, the percentage of you graduating from college, so we're forgetting. And what's crazy is the people that are making these decisions are educated people, that they're in the reason they're where they're at because of their education, but they're okay with guys transferring. And, man, it's scary.
I bet.
I think we all agree there needs to be some changes.
Yeah, right.
It's hurting the student athlete today, but different question for you. So it seems like over the last couple of years, the Big 12's gone from this pass happy, we're going to throw for 500 yards a game, 65 attempts, to you better be able to run the football, which obviously your team can, but on defense, you better be able to stop the run. How does your defense look going into this season?
Exciting. I'm really excited. You know, whenever I first got there, I had 3 defensive tackles that we played year one. And I had 2 guys that played more snaps than anybody else in the country. And we've lost both of them, Tony Bradford from North Shore and Jay Boog. We have 7 interior defensive tackles that we feel like we can go in a game with and play. And so the depth on our defense is the biggest change, I think, whenever you look at our team. It's really the depth overall on the roster, but the depth on defense. Our front 7, we're going to be able to play a lot of guys.
Well, and with as much travel that is going to take place now with the Big 12, 4 different time zones, you need that depth if you're going to make a championship run.
No doubt. Ask you, we're used to seeing, particularly in Lubbock, but everywhere in the Big 12, just that pass happy. And a stat, only 38% of your completions last year went over 10-plus yards. What is that a testament to? Having Brooks, is that what we expect going forward out of your offense?
No, it's kind of I think the biggest thing that you're going to see, like all our fans, whenever I get to talk to our fans, they go, Coach, what's going to be the biggest difference? The offensive skill that we have on this roster is the biggest difference from year 1 to year 3. We have 3 tight ends that have NFL grades. We have Coy Aiken that had 100 yards plus yards in the bowl game at receiver. You add Josh Kelly, you add Caleb Douglas, and then you add Michael Hudson. I mean, you're going to see to where we're really going to be able to stretch the field with some length and speed, and I think that's going to happen because you are going to have to load the box to stop Taj Brooks.
So what you're saying is we'll see a lot of tortillas on the field.
We're going to see a lot of tortillas. That's a good thing if we do, no doubt.
So in today's college football's arm race, your facilities have to be top-notch if you're going to win the recruiting trail and compete for championships. Talk to us about the renovations that have taken place in Lubbock.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a Red Raider. The facilities will be second to none. You have the south end zone, that's adding another 17 suites. Our premium seating in Jones AT&T is as good as anywhere in the country. Whenever you look at the opportunities, 2 new video boards, the double T at a 3rd level. So it's incredible. And then you go across the Sky Bridge and you have the Womble Football Center, 2-story. It is massive, 70-foot video board for our walkthrough room that's turfed. And then if you have it for recovery, we have it in that building. I mean, and whenever it comes to recovery and I always talk about emotional, mental, and physical health, we're going to have it for our players.
That's awesome.
Wouldn't that have been nice when you guys were around? Hey, before we let you go, we let all your players do a fit check. Can you give us a fit check?
Oh, yeah.
Sue came here?
Give it a little right here, a little something like that. There we go.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Coach, appreciate the time. Looking forward to you guys starting the season here in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all very much.
We'll be back next. We will talk to your quarterback, Baron Morton, as he joins Hannah when we get back here live from Allegiant Stadium. It is Big 12 Football Media Days. We'll be back right after this.